Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for making it here today.
I'm Seema, Sidhu. I'm the principal of Kennedy, and this is...
I'm Sasai, principal of Walker Junior High. So thank you for joining us in person, and those of you who are joining us online and will be watching it later.
Awesome. So we have two just general announcements. If you can go ahead and click for me on the next slide. And then we will get into our presentation for this morning, followed by the parent learning walk. You don't have to stay for the parent learning walk portion. That is optional for you guys. So LCAP parent orientation. If you are new to our district and or the LCAP process and interested in participating, please attend on January 24th. It's at 6 p.m. at the district office. Last year they did have food. They provided
In and out.
And I don't know what else. But trying to, incentivize a little bit, entice, because I know we're hungry at that time. So please join us, and really, you definitely are there to participate and give your input. Go ahead.
So what it is, it's our local control accountability plan. So it's what your voice and your input determines what we spend our money on. So in years past, it was to reduce class sizes after COVID, to bring in social workers at every site. So it's really important that if you want to voice what you want you to, come to LCAP and really put in your opinions and your ideas for what we spend our money on.
Okay, and then there will be Spanish, Korean, and Vietnamese interpretation. Hi, come on in.
Good morning.
The second announcement before getting to the PowerPoint is course selection. Believe it or not, course selection is happening. What does that mean? That means students will be selecting their classes for next year. That is coming
Walker
up.
and Kennedy.
Yes. And counselors at Kennedy are going into classrooms. So not with our seniors, right? Because they're going to be done. So they're going to select courses for next year. They'll be doing that at the colleges or whatever they choose to do. But 9th grade through 11th grade, counselors will be going into classes starting January 30th.
And the Kennedy counselors are actually coming to Walker starting on February 3rd. So those of you who have 8th graders, the Kennedy counselors will be coming over to do registration. And then our Walker counselors will be also starting at that time for our current 7th graders going into 8th grade. And starting today, our counselors are starting to go to the elementary schools, if you can believe that, and starting registration there as well. So if you have any friends who have 6th graders or elementary school students, we are doing our 6th grade orientation. We're calling it the Walker Extravaganza. That's this Saturday from 9 to 11:30. So any elementary school students that you know, have them come on down this coming Saturday at 9 to 11:30.
And one last point to emphasize, even though students complete their schedule for next year in Aries, every single student gets a card. So ask your students, and that'll happen in February, because you're supposed to sign it. And many times I hear parents come back, I never saw a card.
Make sure you sign it, please.
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I didn't approve these classes. That is super duper important. So we will be sending out announcements to you and reminders, but I just wanted to share that with you since we're all here together.
And our cards are yellow and blue at Walker. I don't remember what colors for what grades.
Right, so different colors.
And then, there's different colors for different grades, but this is how they pick their core classes. So like what English, math, science, history, but also their electives. And the electives are super important because we're going to be talking about today our AI exclusive pathway. So they can be involved in it at the junior high and move on through those full 6 years. So we really want to tell you about this exclusive opportunity for them.
Thank you, Jennifer. So we're going to move on. We have a short video, it's less than 2 minutes, that a student actually created about our pathway. And then really quickly, Liliana, I just wanted to check in with you with audio. Are we for a virtual?
We haven't said anything. We're good so far.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, so we'll go ahead and play the video.
On the next slide, and then just press the button when it shows up.
Mia and Ian. Mia and Ian are high school students. Ever since they were little, both Mia and Ian really enjoyed creating and building things, but haven't really had many opportunities to pursue these passions. Both hear about amazing job opportunities in fields like computer science, robotics, drones, artificial intelligence, product innovation, and many other related awesome fields. They love to dream about one day having a good paying job while also doing something that they love. This sounds great, but me and Ian really don't know how to build the skills needed for these jobs. These topics sound complicated, maybe even too hard. Neither are quite sure where to start. Mia and Ian hear about an exciting opportunity at the Kennedy Institute of Technology and Engineering. Mia begins a computer science and artificial intelligence focus at Kite and soon finds that it also offers college courses that earn credit to transfer to other universities, including one of the top in computer science, UC Irvine. What's more, Mia learns she can earn guaranteed acceptance into UCI through its exclusive program. Like Mia, Ian learns about Kite and starts taking classes in the engineering and focus. Ian can't believe he's building robots and drones in class. What's more, he's creating exciting new prototypes, and his innovations have been recognized time and again as the best among area programs, even when compared to colleges. Both Mia and Ian are excited by what Kite offers them and for the potential opportunities and doors it opens to interesting and rewarding careers that are in high demand worldwide. If you would like to see what all this stuff is about, you should ask about how you too can be a part of Kite.
So like Jennifer said earlier, Kite is one of our exclusive pathways that starts at Walker, okay? So even if students, come over and they're still not sure what they want to do, they can join at any time. They don't have to start necessarily in 7th grade. They can start in 9th grade or 10th grade as well. Okay? So what we're going to go over is the student profile, what do our students look like that are in the program. Give you a program overview, program sequence, which means what types of classes you're taking, and then the outcomes. And then Jennifer, feel free to jump in anytime. So yes, what type of students are in this pathway, this exclusive pathway? Students that are interested in creating or building using traditional methods. Okay. So we have engineering classes, for example, in the pathway, right? So if your child is interested in building something and being hands-on, that's something that the student would be interested in doing.
So I can give you kind of an example. So in the 7th grade, we have 2 options that students can take. One is our wheel class. So that is one of 4 quarters, and in that class, they're going to create things like, for example, during December, they were making gingerbread houses, but they were making them using a computer design program, and then they were laser cutting them so that they were able to construct a house using the computer and then actually making it and designing it. So that was really cool. The quarter-long class also makes things like they'll make phone cases and or phone stands. So they'll make different things so they'll actually get to do hands-on. They also could take a semester-long class in 7th grade. So they have that choice of the quarter-long or the semester-long. And then in 8th grade, they can take a semester-long or a year-long class. That's part of our cohort. So.
And then when they get to Kennedy, they'll be taking year-long classes. I'm going to talk a little bit more in detail about those, but those classes require students to be on the computer, right, to code. They learn how to code, for example, and then they learn how to turn that coding into an application. By the time they are a junior or senior, they would be taking a class called app development. That means they're actually developing an app, the apps that you have on your phone, for example. They are able to
So the second type of student that is involved is someone who wants to infuse that technology into their projects. So in our 7th grade classes, we have Miss Crone, for example. She's a history teacher. They actually do Minecraft. So one of their projects is they actually infuse technology into their classes. So it's good for a student who is taking regular classes but wants to add that additional technology piece into their learning.
And then the last one, creates entirely within digital workspaces. So like I said, a lot of coding, a lot of computer applications is what the focus is there. And then going into more specifics, we have fabrication, okay, engineering, and computer science. One thing I want to point out is that when students take the engineering classes, they can earn a computer-aided drawing, we call it CAD, certification. So when they graduate from high school, they have a certification which allows them to apply for these types of jobs.
And in 8th grade at Walker, we want to let you know that the students can take Engineering 1. So that's a year-long class as an 8th grader, so that when they come here, they've already met that requirement for Engineering 1, and it is an A through G requirement for college. So it's something they can do in the junior high level and have it count towards high school.
You're right, and it's so important for students right now. This is something that they want to focus on. I oftentimes Google, what are the jobs now and in the future? What's the top paying job, or what type of jobs are out there for our students? Software development is something that's huge. That the technology industry is booming, despite layoffs, and I feel like that comes in waves oftentimes, and it depends on what type of company or where those layoffs are coming from. But a lot of jobs are being created in these very fields. And they're going to continue because of our technology, our advancement in technology, artificial intelligence, engineering. These are very, very, very high demanding jobs.
And so your students will graduate from Kennedy and be able to just either go out into the field or continue their education through our Anaheim Pledge.
Thank you. Next one. So fabrication course progression, this just shows you that there's fabrication 1, fabrication 2, and then the engineering or computer science. On the next slide, I'm going to show you there's engineering 1, engineering 2, and you can read through the description there, and then computer science.
So again, your students can take this in 8th grade at Walker. So we really are promoting that 6-way pathway, that 6-year program.
Right.
So they can take engineering at Walker as 8th graders and then take engineering 2 as freshmen.
Okay. Then after that, they would take the computer science class. And then with computer science, that lane starts with computer science 1, varied options, entry points, including intro to computer science, regular honors, there's AP, IB. Computer science 2 is IB, or app development. So they don't have to be in the IB program. This is definitely not something that is just for IB students. In fact, it starts with all students, and then we added a component for IB students today. And then future offering, we want to also add a fusion type of class where students can kind of take what they're learning here and apply it a little bit more to the workplace, and maybe add some internships. That's what we need to work on, is more internships. We had one with Loco AI last year, which is an AI company in Irvine, and 2 of our students were selected to do that. Those 2 students, one now goes to, Alicia Stone, where did she end up? Oh, MIT, thank you. I'm trying to blank. And then Adam Nam goes to UC Santa Cruz. So both of them, in that experience, gained a lot. And I know Alicia is a computer science major, so she gained some really great experiences through that internship. So we're planning on growing that.
And as you can see, there's those different roads that they can take. So it's not a one-size-fits-all approach to this. They can go different ways depending on what their interests are. And we're in the perfect spot for this because, as we know, in Southern California, we're a really big hub of technology. So you can find all those companies like in Irvine, in near LAX. So there's a bunch of different places that they can, you want your babies to stay close to home, right? And get a job close to home. So there are opportunities. You don't have to move far away afterwards. So I'm going to go to the next slide.
Thank you. Okay. And then intended outcomes. This one just shows you what they are getting out of it. For example, on-shape certification. That's another certification they can get. Coding, mechanical, electric engineering experience, project portfolio. Fusion says enhanced project portfolio plus work experience. I talked a little bit about that. And then if you want to.
And then we have for fabrication, you can see that they'll have a portfolio. So instead of just using test scores, they actually graduate with this portfolio that they can take into the workplace and get a job. And then with computer science, obviously they have another portfolio. They will get APIB and a dual enrollment credit. So we have some students who take dual enrollment. So they go to Cypress College concurrently with going here, and they actually graduate with an AA too. So we have a couple of those. But think about today, being able to graduate from high school, have this already ready, and the competition with other students who they're competing against, where they're going to have so much more than other people because of our exclusive pathway here at Walker Kennedy.
I'm actually meeting with the school virtually in Georgia because that school has kind of developed, they have computer science courses, but they're working on becoming an AI school. And what that means is just incorporating more AI into the core classes. So we started doing that here at Kennedy.
We're doing that at Walker as well. So first, we're kind of infusing it into our core, what's called our core program. It's 7th and in the 8th grade, but in 7th grade, they're reading this book called Dry. So it's a book about when we run out of water, when the tap goes dry in Orange County. So they're infusing it into the curriculum of what does it look like? How can, through AI, fix this problem? It's kind of, it's been raining, right? So I was reading the book as it's like downpouring, and this book takes place in Orange County when there is no water. But it's really interesting. So the students are actually seeing a problem, our drought, and fixing it through AI. So we're infusing it into science, into English, into history, into our electives as well. So it's really cool, and I can't wait to see what happens this semester with it.
And then at Kennedy, we have, how many of you have heard of in the news, the Chat GPT box? Okay. And so our students have been talking about, essay writing, and that this program can write essays for you. It can write personal statements.
You can say, oh, I want an 8th grade essay on the book, The Giver. So what it'll do is it'll pull all these essays and it'll make it as if an 8th grader wrote it. So that's AI technology. So I haven't tried it yet. Have you?
I've tinkered with it a little bit.
Yeah, I haven't even gone down that.
A college student has already created an app that can detect if that Chat GPT has been used. So again, all of this is going to transform and change and affect and impact education, which obviously impacts our students. And so I think it's really important for our students to get exposure to artificial intelligence, to computer science, engineering, those fields as well.
Oh yes, here's Adam.
So just an example, we just wanted to share like a real life example with you. He graduated already, he graduated last year. His career interests are computer science, engineering, economics. And then he applied to all of these schools and is going to UC Santa Cruz at the moment. I'm not sure if he got into all of them, but at the end of the day, he definitely got some experience here while he was at Kennedy that helped prepare him for those fields. And then Alicia Stones on the next side kind of already talked about her. Those were her career interests. She chose to, go through kite. And Adam Nom started in 7th grade, so that's another really important point. And then did Alicia start in 7th grade? Okay. And then she selected to go to MIT.
Can you imagine telling all your friends that your child is at MIT? Like, how cool is that, right? So,
and not to say, and if that's not the route they choose, that is.
They can go straight into their career too. So that's the beauty of this, is that they can take the college route, but they also can take the career right outside of high school.
And they can do both as well. So lots of options, and I think that's the whole thing, right? It's just providing students with options for them to attend these classes at Walker, Kennedy, and then the real world. So
we've also had AUHSD grads as well. I know in other districts, competing districts, but in AUHSD where they start working right after, while doing junior college, absolutely. And then they go to the finish their 4th year, but they're earning the whole time.
Yes.
And so they're not a poor high
so
school.
They're not gonna end up with that.
They're not gonna be like, you know, me
Us,
with,
yeah.
I can't even tell you how much debt,
Yeah.
you know, student loan debt I still have.
And they won't be eating ramen.
Yeah.
They'll be eating fancy ramen. Because they have money. And so it's really like, there's just a lot, I have a friend who works for a local junior college, and she said they're getting training on the fact that students have these options and are using the universities as well as the junior colleges as just touch points for their careers, and they're getting trainings to understand that.
Yeah, and our partnership with our community colleges of Cypress and Fullerton College
Is making them
something
happen.
that, you know, we didn't have when we went to school. We really, what a difference maker it is, truly.
So that was a really short, you know, brief overview. If you have any questions, if there are any questions in the chat on the 6-year pathway, we're going to take a moment to answer those now, and then we'll transition to the actual parent learning walk, where we'll go into Mr. Gupton's classes and Mr. Hoff's classes here at Kennedy to kind of see what they
And then we're also having this Saturday a sumo bot competition.
Yes.
So you can actually see our junior high students with their student-made sumo bot robots, and they're going to be competing in the gym on Saturday. So come on down. It's between 9 and 11:30 on Saturday, and see our kids compete. And what's really cool is our students actually make their sumo bots out of just like parts. So they're not buying, like you'll see at other schools, they have kits that they use. Our students are building it just like from scratch. They're just parts, and they're creating something from scratch. So it's a really cool thing. So come by this Saturday at Walker and see it.
All right, any questions?
Do you want to switch over?
Any questions online?
So I have a comment from Ms. Torres Wong. All this information sounds great. Who should I reach out to learn more? At Walker, thanks.
At Walker, so Mr. Takahara, Mr. Kwan. So those are our two AI teachers, and then they can also reach out to their counselors or administrators.
Right.
So we're all there to support.
Viviana, and you can tell her, she can also reach out to me, and we can get her more dialed in as to the course options. So then when she goes to the counselor, she can ask about them. Not because they need to go to me, but I know Ms. Torres Wong, we could talk about that.
And then the same with Kennedy, you know, an administrator, Mr. Hoff, Mr. Gupton, counselor. We're all here to help.
Yes. And as we really want to emphasize that 6-year pathway, so they can start it at Walker and continue on. So it's really a cool thing. Any other questions that we have before we move on to our parent learning walk? Because I can't wait for you to see the program here, and then you'll have an opportunity to see at Walker another day to see our program as well. Or do you want me to start with this? Okay, I'm going to pass out to you. We're going to be going on a parent learning walk.
They're the same thing.
And then this is, here, if you want to come over, sorry. Miss Rosenberg, she is the pathway coordinator for the KITE program at Kennedy as well. She is amazing. She really helps kind of behind the scenes with a lot of organizing, planning, implementation. She's also another point of contact. We already went through the PowerPoint, so we're good there. We didn't have a lot of questions. We just had one question. But she's also another great resource if you have any questions.